Chapter 31. The First Disciples. In the evening, Andrew suddenly burst in and said to Simon, "We have found the Messiah." Simon, who had traveled all the way to the region of Berea on the east side of the Jordan River to spend time with his younger brother, a disciple of John the Baptist, was startled by Andrew's unexpected words. "What are you talking about all of a sudden?" "I'm telling you, we have found the Messiah." Simon looked at his brother, confused by his excitement. "Why are you acting so strangely? Here, have some water. Calm down and tell me again." Andrew gulped down the water. Simon handed him and began to recount everything that had happened from the very beginning. The day after John the Baptist's remarkable declaration at the Jordan River, Andrew went to find the teacher together with John, the son of Zebedee. "Teacher, may I ask what you meant by what you said yesterday?" "Are you speaking about him?" "Yes, we heard what you said, but we did not hear the voice that came from heaven." "That is possible. Do you remember when the people of Israel received the commandments on Mount Sinai?" "Yes, we know about that." At that time, God appeared in a thick cloud and spoke with Moses so that the people would believe Moses. The people heard the thunder, lightning, the sound of a trumpet, and saw smoke. Although God spoke, the people only saw and heard these signs. In the same way, God's voice is not something everyone can hear. It is only heard by those whom God has chosen, those who have ears to hear. So it is natural that even if you heard that voice with me yesterday, you did not understand it. Andrew and John did not easily accept John the Baptist's words. However, knowing that John was not a liar, their hearts became troubled. Just then, the man they had seen yesterday passed in front of them. "Behold, the Lamb of God!" Hearing these words, the two followed him to confirm whether he was truly the Messiah. How far did they follow? Suddenly he turned around and looked at them. His smile was warmer and more gentle than it had been the day before. "What are you looking for?" "Rabbi, where are you staying?" "Come and see." He turned and walked on, and they followed him to where he was staying. They stayed with him until evening, and as they talked with him, they began to understand why John the Baptist had called him the Messiah. Listening to his profound insight into God and the Scriptures and his excellent eloquence, they could not help but be deeply impressed. "So John the Baptist called him the Lamb of God, and after talking with him, you came to believe he is the Messiah?" "Yes?" Simon hesitated, unsure. He could not easily understand the meaning of John the Baptist's words, and he wondered if it was right to recognize someone as the Messiah after just a few hours of conversation. Andrew, usually calm despite his name meaning manly, was unusually excited that day. He noticed Simon's hesitation and said, "Don't brood over it like that. That's not like you, bro. Let's go meet him first, and then we'll see." Though Simon still had doubts, he trusted his brother's judgment. Andrew had a keen eye for people, and if he spoke so confidently, this man must not be ordinary. Simon decided it would be best to meet him first. Following Andrew, Simon soon saw a simple, humble house come into view. The bright light from the house dispelled the darkness around it. When they opened the door and entered, Simon saw John, the son of Zebedee, whom he had known for a long time. And there, sitting in front of John, was a man. "Rabbi." The man turned his head and looked at Simon and Andrew. "You are Simon the son of Jonah." "What? How do you know that?" He looked at Andrew, but Andrew raised his palms as if to say he hadn't told anyone, and shrugged. Simon glanced at John, who shook his head repeatedly, indicating he hadn't said anything either. While Simon was still confused, the man spoke again. "You shall be called Cephas." "Cephas? That's Peter, right? Which means rock. Haha, just what my quick-tempered brother needs." Simon, now Peter, was led by Andrew and John to sit before him. The man's face shone with a radiance Peter had never seen before. The four of them talked late into the night and only fell asleep when dawn was breaking. Some hours later, Peter, half asleep, sensed someone leaving the house. He was too tired to open his eyes, but he knew his brother and John wouldn't be moving around so early. Maybe it was the teacher? But he soon fell back asleep. After more time passed, a gentle and soft voice reached the ears of the three sleeping men. "Everyone, wake up!" As they rubbed their eyes and got up, they saw that breakfast was already laid out before them. "Let's eat quickly and leave. It's time to return to Galilee." "Already? We must go to Cana within 3 days." "But Cana is so far away. We need to hurry and depart." The three began to eat hastily. Just then they heard a knock at the door. Jesus said, "Come in." Outside the open door stood Philip, a man from their hometown, and another person beside him. "Philip, what are you all doing here?" he asked, his eyes wide with astonishment. Peter couldn't help but smile at Philip's expression. Peter could well understand how Philip felt. But then, why had Philip come here? And who was that person beside him? John, the youngest, gestured to them. "Come on in." He stood up and made room for them. Only then did the two come inside and sit down. As they settled in, Philip soon looked cheerful again, while the other person still wore a somewhat reluctant expression. Andrew asked, "Philip, how did you know to come here?" Philip explained that early in the morning he had gone out to a quiet place to pray, and there he met Jesus, who was already there before him. They talked for a long time, and Philip, like the others, was deeply impressed by everything about him. At that moment, Jesus said, "Follow me." Philip followed him. On the way, he thought of Nathanael and went to bring him the news. Philip told Nathanael, "We have found him, of whom Moses in the law and the prophets wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." But Nathanael did not believe him, saying, "Can any good thing come out of Nazareth?" So Philip said to him, "Come and see," and brought him along. Peter imagined Nathanael was probably feeling just as confused and uncertain as he himself had been the night before, when he first met Jesus. He couldn't help but smile in understanding. He knew exactly how Nathanael felt. Jesus, who had been listening to the story, finally spoke. "Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom is no deceit." Nathanael, still suspicious, asked, "How do you know me?" "Before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you." Nathanael was astonished. Peter saw a look of utter amazement on his face. Peter couldn't guess what had happened under the fig tree, but it was clear that Jesus' words held some deep significance for Nathanael. After a long silence, Nathanael suddenly took Jesus' hand and said, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are King of Israel." What could have happened under the fig tree to make Nathanael so amazed? Peter wondered, but he could not figure it out. Jesus answered, "Because I told you, I saw you underneath the fig tree. Do you believe? You will see greater things than these. Most certainly, I tell you all, hereafter you will see heaven opened, and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." Peter listened, but he still couldn't fully understand everything that was happening. All he and his brother had hoped for was a Messiah who would liberate Israel. That was why they had recognized Jesus as the Messiah. But now Jesus was speaking of something even greater. Why was he saying such things? What did it all mean? Peter, for now, could not understand any of it.